The president is locked and loaded. I thought the New York Giants were locked and loaded as well. Would you translate what locked and loaded means? What is he talking about? Is it a Pentagon issue?
No, well, I think he's saying he would be willing to adopt an aggressive stance if it's proven that Iran was directly responsible for this attack. But we've seen in the past, he has said essentially said he's locked and loaded a number of times in the Gulf region, and nothing has really happened.
The Washington Post, Max Boot writing, let me make clear, Mr. Boot has been a critic of President Trump weekly and monthly and daily, including in his writings. If we can bring that up right now, the president and his aides just tried to falsify information about a hurricane. Why believe them about an attack in the Middle East? At the root of the problem is the president's decision to outsource Middle Eastern leadership to Israel and Saudi Arabia, unlikely allies. Every step of the way, the president either cheered the Saudis or looked the other way. Iran deserves an outsized share of the blame for destabilizing the Middle East. I thought it was actually a very balanced essay by Mr. Boot. Who are the Saudis' allies in this besides President Trump?
Well, it's interesting that the region has become so unstable because of ever since the U.S. withdrew from the Iranian nuclear accord.
Yeah.
There's been a lack of communication and coordinated response to any of Iran's actions. The Europeans have been more tolerant. The U.S., especially with John Bolton, have been saber rattling, and there doesn't seem to be any real fundamental communication between the nations in a coordinated response.
I was going to ask about John Bolton. Marty, how significant is the timing of this? I mean, was this almost, done on purpose? This is a week after John Bolton is no longer there.
Well, I think it's merely coincidence. I don't, to assume that they're reading the headlines and saying, wow, this would be a great time to attack the Saudi oil fields is kind of a far-fetched notion. At the same time, Mike Pompeo is now in charge. He has taken a less strident approach to Iran. But make no mistake, Donald Trump is leading whatever response we take to this attack in Saudi Arabia, if in fact it was an attack. We don't even know that for sure.